Hi, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. Once again, this is Jolie. I am so happy you are with me today. And I got to tell you guys, today I am a little off kilter. My rhythm is kind of off today. Believe it or not, I had to go into work today, which is very rare. I have not worked on a Saturday for years. But as chance would have it, it is physical inventory next week at our company. So I went in today, volunteered to go in and help do some pre-counts. So it wasn't anything hard, wasn't anything major. Some nice overtime to get. I never say no to overtime, love overtime, nice for the paycheck. But it's just my culture's a little off. I'm not used to working on Saturdays. So as you can see, though, behind me, we got another gorgeous day. We're in September, and we got another gorgeous Saturday here. It is just amazing. The only thing that's a little annoying right now is up until maybe the last 10 minutes, it wasn't too much of a breeze. And right now, of course, as I'm getting ready to go live, it is kicking up big time. So you will see my hair kind of fluttering all over the place here. But it's really nice. It's great out. And I hope you are having an amazing, amazing weekend wherever you are. And I thank you for joining me today. And of course, we always got to start with reminding everybody, please subscribe and hit that like button. I love to get the thumbs up from all of you. And I appreciate all my subscribers. And if you are new here, welcome. I'm glad you've joined us. And let's get to talking about some serious courage. That's what we're talking about today. So I have to tell you, what do we need to know about courage? How can we become more courageous? And I got to tell you, I really wasn't sure exactly myself. I think we all have our own definition of what courage is. And I honestly had mine, but I wasn't really sure what the official, definition of courage was. And what courage actually is, it is taking action in the spite of fear. It's when you respond, even if you're full of anxiety or worry, or if you're just flat out scared. And in thinking back over my life and, even the more recent stuff, I have come across so many things in my life that scared me. But I have to tell you, I never saw myself as courageous. Now, I'm a fighter, and I am really can be tough. I have my limits like everybody else does, but it takes a lot for me to get to the point where I'm crying or have a breakdown or something. But I'm looking at things differently now that by the definition of courage, it's taking action in the spite of fear. Well, I've been fear filled so many times, but still done things. But I always saw it as me doing what I had to do. It was out of necessity. And I didn't really have a choice at the time, but that's actually what being courageous is. So that kind of made me feel good. And I'm sure there are many things in your life where you can honestly say you can see that in your own life. And one thing we need to remember in starting to talk about this is, we talk a lot on this channel about being kind to yourself. This day and age, we have everybody coming down on us. We are stressed out to the hilt. We don't take a step back to be kind to ourselves. And that's wrong. Everybody deserves to be kind to themselves because we already got enough coming from outside sources. But we need to figure out a way to replace the fear that we're feeling by facing the challenges that are ahead of us, And part of that, the big part of it is understanding what our fears are so that we can overcome it. So, what are some of the benefits of being courageous? One thing about being courageous is it helps us to respond appropriately to risks. We it allows us to think things through. Take a step back. It allows us to think things through, examine the risk that's in front of us. What's the risk? Potential rewards. And we act in spite of all of the fear. that's in front of us. The fear inevitably is going to set in. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. Rambo, Die Hard, that's for the movies. That is not what reality is. We know reality. I'm up to my wazoo in reality every day of my life. We all are. So being able to respond to this appropriately allows us to view the risks, even though there are fears there. So another benefit is there are so many wonderful things we can accomplish in our lives. It gives us power, and I call it a fire. It puts a fire inside of us, to go after those things that are important to us, that mean something, that we feel are going to make a difference for us, and whenever we are going to go after these things, this is something that can help increase our self-esteem, which quite frankly is one of my biggest faults. My self-esteem is in the toilet. I have worked on this my entire life, but I let outside sources affect me too much. Maybe you're the same way, maybe you're not. But by doing this, it can help increase self-esteem and help us believe in ourselves and our abilities. And I know who I am. You know who you are. And we need to remember that there is something there. That ability is in us. We just maybe not seeing it because that fear is taking charge of us. And there's other benefits too, to being courageous. I mean, it allows us to see the world from a different perspective. It broadens our horizons, if you will. It broadens our experiences. I've met some people in my life from, different countries or different experiences or different lifestyles. And I have to admit, I've always been a little bit reticent, nervous, maybe not scared necessarily, but nervous. And by taking those risks and chances and having the courage to open myself up and give them a chance to come into my life, that has just helped me to see things from a different perspective. It's actually brought happiness to my life. And it actually has helped me to be a more rounded person, not only personally, but in the job I do as a buyer. I deal globally now. It's a global world. And it's really helped me to open my eyes to see different cultures and different people, and to find out who they are and how they grew up and, what they believe in. It helps you to grow. So having courage, while it's scary, there's so many wonderful benefits that come out of it. But here's the real challenge. How can we feel more courageous? We need to start with identifying, what areas in our life where we could be more courageous. Are there situations in our life that right now we see as a challenge to our experiences? This is the time. We need to face something head on, and that fear comes there. And what are some of those things? What are those areas that we can be more courageous in? And while we're taking a look, at our lives in that way, we need to make sure to maintain a healthy perspective. Now I'm going to say this, and I know it's true, because some people are just more courageous just because of who they are. They're just predisposed to be that way. I'm not. At least I don't see it that way. I see more, like I said, as being out of necessity, that I have to be it. And I guess I have been courageous, but sometimes not by choice. But even if we're not someone that, courage comes automatic to, we can train ourselves and we can practice on how to be more courageous, and it might sound a little cliche, but they do say practice, practice, practice. And it's very true. Every day in my life, if I learn something new, of course, I'm nervous and it's really nerve-wracking, but once you do it over and over and over again, you get that comfort level. So just doing things by practicing it over and over, you can get to the point where you're going to be more comfortable with being courageous. You know, let's say fear is not a bad thing, and we should not be seeing fear as that. You know, fear helps our instincts kick in, and it helps keep us safe. And here's an example. Have you ever met somebody and you just had a vibe that you couldn't figure out? And you were just like, I don't know. I'm not comfortable with this person. And you can't quite put your finger on it. But, you get that tingly feeling that you just don't think so. We need to listen to that voice. Fear is a tool that we can use to our advantage to keep us safe from these types of maybe potential bad situations. And we need to make sure to be kind to ourselves if fear comes into our lives. We do have it in ourselves to build courage and to roll with it, but we shouldn't be beating ourselves up in spite of it. We need to acknowledge that we have fear. Okay, we all have fear. Okay, it's there. But when we identify what that fear is, we need to take a step back and just review it and understand why you're feeling fearful. That is the big part of this. Why? Why? Ask the why. And once you understand it, have identified it and understand it, that can help you to find what to do to be successful in overcoming it. Basically, it's allowing you to empower yourself. We always need to find things that are going to empower us. You know, um, we need to remember all of us have strengths. I have a very hard problem, admitting I have strengths. We all do, and we're all different. And the fact that we're all different is a great thing because we balance each other out. What are you good at? What have you been successful at in your life? Look at your strengths, write them down. Write them down if you need to. Developing your strength helps you to achieve increased resilience. It boosts your confidence. And hi, Mark. Hello. This is a very big subject. We have people to this day going well above and beyond because it makes them feel good about themselves and the training they've been through. God bless our troops. Oh my gosh, yes. And I could not agree with that more. A lot on this channel. I do give a shout out to all the troops, emergency personnel, nurses, doctors, anybody who's in the trenches every day that I'm missing. Courageous is an understatement to what they do. Respect is an understatement for what they do. This is pretty much what I'm talking about today is something for you and me. Those of us who are not at that level, who are trying to find a way to find courage. These individuals find it in themselves every day, and I can't help but think of them, worry about them. But I will say that the ones that I normally talk to, they just kind of see it as nothing, because it's just part of what they do in their job. So, kudos to all of you, anybody who watches this. Thank you for everything you do. Here's to you. So, one thing we can do, and I know I do this, maybe you do this too. We have a tendency, whenever we have a situation that presents itself, we have a tendency that we imagine the absolute worst thing that could happen if we take a risk. But what if we also did the flip side of that? What if we also looked at the situation if we did nothing at all? So we're talking about worst case versus no action at all. And in the big picture, the big span of things, the worst thing that can happen is often very minimal compared to what you can gain by being courageous and moving forward and doing whatever is you're facing and that challenge you're facing. You know, visualize scenarios, put yourself into realistic scenarios. Figure out how would you respond to a scenario and practice it. Practice until you're ready to move forward. This is a process. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. You know, we need to build what they call our courage muscles, and that involves the practicing. You know, and one of my favorite things, in order to overcome little fears, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Do the small things, but get outside of your comfort zone. You know, start with the little fears. You don't want to get yourself overstressed. You don't want to get so exhausted that any little thing to do is going to be just overwhelming for you. You need to find a way to release that stress. You need to, do mindfulness. I mean, how much stuff is out there right now on the internet? Doctors are talking about it. It's all over the news, whether it's mindfulness or exercise or just walking or reading or whatever it is. I mean, we all need to take a break. We all deserve it. We all need to learn some coping skills, and take those little baby steps. And when you do, you will find that you will have those little successes. And every little thing, you should be proud of yourself for every little thing that you accomplish. And especially if, being courageous is something new for you, or if it's a new area that you've never been in before and you've accomplished it, why shouldn't you be proud of yourself? Why shouldn't you be celebrating that? Small wins are great and they build up over time. Those little steps and those little accomplishments will allow you to get motivated. It's going to give you that fire and that bite inside yourself to continue on and build up to those bigger ones. You're going to get that confidence in yourself, and you can always journal. Like I've always said, I'm not a journaler. Maybe you are. Maybe it helps you to write your feelings down. Write it down. Absolutely do that. Follow it along. And then you can go back and see where you've been and where you've come from that. You've seen your progress. And don't let negative thoughts get in your head. That's what happens to me. They come in very easily, and most of the time they get there because of outside resources. And I really have taken on the challenge to tackle those negative feelings and bring them to light and talk myself out of it. And I am not going to get discouraged. And I honestly know, I've been training myself. I've been in therapy for quite a while. And even, my therapist is saying I'm doing great. And I feel different. I feel better. Getting those negative thoughts out, who cares what anybody else thinks? I don't care anymore. I've let it go. And that's what we need to do. And Mark, you're totally right. Some people have personal battles to get through. And yes, they're using a lot of courage to get past their personal battles. I think we all are at some point in our lives, and some of us maybe more than others. It's a challenge. These challenges are for all of us. This idea of being courageous is really overwhelming and scary. At least it is for me. And I'm sure it is for a lot of other people. But by breaking it down, making it smaller, practicing it, and moving forward, it can actually be something that we can all achieve. And with that being said, this is going to be a little hard for everybody to kind of grasp, wrap your head around, but stick with me here. We need to welcome failure, and here's why. We should never be afraid of it. If you don't try, and if you don't fail, you're never going to grow as a person. There's no shame. There's no embarrassment in failing. I mean, we've all heard the stories about, oh yeah, Einstein, he failed so many times, and other people. Everybody has failed. Failing is not a bad thing. It is a learning experience. It tells everybody, especially yourself, you've stepped outside of that comfort zone. And failure allows you to grow as an individual and learn. Oh, goodness sakes, I make mistakes every day of my life and I learn from every one of them. Do I get frustrated with myself? Of course I do. You know, I'm like, Julie, you idiot. What'd you do that for? But I have come a long way and I am growing as an individual and I'm continuing that path. And that's what I'm sure you're doing too. We need to learn new things. And it helps us show us what we're really made of, what's really inside of us, what we really can do. So failure is just part of that process. It's not something bad, and we definitely should not be beating ourselves up for it. You know, how many of us don't want to see what we're made of? And I know I've surprised myself many times. I'm sure you have too. So, with all of those things being said, let's kind of sum it up. Everything we've talked about here. And, you know, you can start this at any age, you know, young or old, doesn't matter, whatever stage in your life you're at. It is never too late to start trying to be courageous. You know, it's that determination that's in you. It's that push through the uneasy feeling that you feel to take that chance outside of your safe zone. You know, step out of the box, you know, let yourself go, open yourself up to new experiences and new things. You know, don't hide, don't run away. It's fine to be scared. Everybody's scared. But by doing this, even if you fail, can build your self-esteem. You can realize what's truly inside of you, who you really are. And every sacrifice that you make, it can build you up to a point in your life where you will be happier and you will be able to live the kind of life that you've always wanted, but more importantly, deserve. And that's what it's all about for all of us. We all just want to be happy, and being courageous is a part of that. So there's my 2 cents for the day on being courageous. I've learned a lot, and I hope you have too. So, of course, along with reminding you to subscribe and subscribe and hit the like button below, I want to tell you what my topic is next week. And it's not controversial or anything, but it's going to be a tough one for everybody, because this is something that we all face. It's hard for all of us, and it's basically going to be ways that we can forgive those who have hurt us. Not an easy task, is it? Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes we know people that never have. And we are going to talk a lot about that next week. So there you have it. There's the teaser for next week. So with that being said, I hope everybody is having a wonderful weekend. I hope you have an amazing week next week, whatever you're doing. If you're on vacation, if you're going to work, I hope it's wonderful for you. I know I'm looking forward to a new week, but I'm loving the weekend. Who doesn't love a good weekend, right? And you know how we always end the week. Got to do it. I got to do it. So here we go. We can do this. We got this. I can and I will. So will you. Because I believe in you. Believe in yourself. You're amazing. I know you are. So tackle it full head on and be courageous. So with that being said, my friends, take care. Stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. And please join me next week, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Until that time, my friends, take care. Bye-bye.